A very good morning to you. Welcome to the West Ham Voice on a Saturday morning. Yes, this is a pilot. I've got no clue how it's going to go. So I hope you're going to enjoy it. It's a slight take on a preview where it's a live show rather than a pre recorded one. So you guys get to have your say on what you think the game is going to be like, the team selection, how it's going to go, and so on and so forth. It may work, it may not. If it works, great, I'll do it again. If it doesn't work, then well, it was worth a try. So I hope you're all doing well. I hope you're all looking forward to the game itself. And if you're new to the channel, please do consider becoming a subscriber if you enjoy the content. If you're an existing subscriber, then and if you enjoy what you hear, what you see, then please hit that like button. So let's talk about Fulham. Last season, we lost twice against them. If you recall that far back, last December at Craven Cottage, they smashed us 5-0 with Raul Jimenez, Willian, Adebayo, Harry Wilson, and Carlos Vinicius grabbing the goals. It was a poor game. And at the beginning of December, the signs of our season turning sour were kind of there for all to see. We had a pretty good season up until that point, and then things started to go a little bit awry. And then we fared no better when they visited us back in April at the London Stadium, where Andreas Pereira got a brace to beat us 2-0. It's not usual that a team like Fulham get a double over us, but they've got a good team, to be quite honest with you. They've since last season they sold one of their best players in order. That's João Palina, of course, but he going to Bayern Munich for something like 50 odd million euros allowed Marco Silva to invest in the rest of the squad. It's helped to fund the arrival of Emil Smith-Rowe from Arsenal. It's helped to fund other players like Joachim Anderson from Crystal Palace at centre back, coupled with Sandy Berg in midfield. It's interesting. A lot of these names are names that we've been linked to in the past. So Marco Silva hasn't splashed an awful lot of cash, but he's strengthened where I think, or he believes he needed to. He's bought a couple of defenders, he's bought a couple of midfielders, and he's bought players up front as well. Now, with regards to the game, Silva, he likes an attack-minded 4-3-3. And in the last game against Ipswich that they drew 1-1, their goal came from Adama Traore, yet another player that was linked to us in the past. And it was an assist from yet another player linked to us in the past, left back Anthony Robinson. That was Robinson's second assist of the season. And you can see Marco Silva's approach: 4 at the back, 3 interesting midfielders in the sense of like there's a little bit of defensive midfield in Lukic and some quite attack-minded midfielders in the likes of Pereira. And then he's got 3 up front with Ayobi and Traore out wide. And this time he went with Rodrigo Muniz up front. So what are we expecting against Marco Silva's side? Well, he likes a high-pressing, attacking style of game. Silva favours a high press. The approach is designed to put pressure on the opposition quite high up the pitch to obviously create goal-scoring opportunities. He plays close attention to detail, which kind of helps his team to be well organised against opposition. And he likes dynamic and expansive football. Silva's teams are known for playing that kind of flair football, which is more exciting and engaging for the fans to watch. And he's got good man management. He maintains a close relationship with players, which is significant. And he sets his team up to go out and win. There's a high element of ambition and bravery. Now, all of this sounds very similar in a lot of ways to Hudon Lopetegui. Whilst he encourages an attack-minded approach, Silva also emphasises defensive organisation. The backline is usually well drilled, with fullbacks often playing a crucial role in both defence and attack. He likes his fullbacks to venture forward. Wingers and fullbacks are essential to Silva's system. They provide the width and stretch the opposite's defence, creating space for central players to go into. Now, the midfield I've just mentioned is a compromise of, well, not a compromise, it's composed of a mix of defensive solidity and creative flair. This balance allows for both protection of the backline and ability to unlock defenses with incisive passes. He's also adept at making tactical adjustments during matches, whether it's changing formations or making strategic substitutions. Now, all of these attributes, like I've just said, describe Lopetegui. So this could be a game down to individual brilliance. It might be won on individual brilliance on the day. If he goes with the same lineup, then Lopetegui will have to combat. If Silva goes with the same lineup as the last time against Ipswich, if he goes with that lineup, Sasa Lukic could be in for quite a busy time. Now, he's got Smith Rowe there to help out and Pereira as well. But like I said, they're kind of more attack-minded, or certainly Pereira is a more attack-minded midfielder. It's quite a creative midfield he's got there. Excuse me. Quite a creative midfield he's got there. And Lukic, I think, might find himself to be a busy man, dependent on what team West Ham United put out. With the likes of Alvarez and possibly Rodriguez, Paqueta, Soler in midfield. On paper, we should be the better team in midfield. But there are the likes of Lukic and Pereira scoring a brace against us last April. They're a team that can be quite formidable. But we've also got to be aware of their wider players, like I've already mentioned. Robinson, like I said, he's already assisted in 2 goals this season. And he's going to relish, along with Ayobi further up front, they're going to relish coming up against the likes of Wan-Bissaka. And I don't know just yet, possibly Bowen, but I'm going to get on to the kind of formation that we might be putting on. And then, of course, on the right-hand side, there's Tete and Traore. Now, I'm not a big fan of Traore, and I know a lot of fans wanted Traore to come to West Ham when he was still at Wolves. I just think he's an Antonio on steroids, to be honest with you. But he's still quite a dangerous player. He's got good strength. But West Ham, we've got our own force, haven't we? With the likes of Emerson and Wan-Bissaka in fullback roles, which are likely to keep Fulham busy. And with probably Jared Bowen, and probably Somerville out on the flanks, looking to cut in on their favourite foot, will add pressure to Fulham's backline. Winning the wide play is going to be crucial in this game. It's going to be interesting to see how Lopetegui lines up his team. Now, one player that Fulham have got out, one injury, is Carlos Vinicius, who also scored in that 5-0 drubbing against West Ham last season. It's going to be our only player who is out injured is obviously Fulkrug. But we've both got options. Silva can play Jimenez up front. They won't be short of firepower. Like I said, he also started the last game that Fulham played with Muniz. So he's got options available to him. But then so have we. We don't know if Antonio will lead the line, but it's quite possible that Lopetegui may decide to play Antonio up front in this game. I'm not so sure. If it isn't him, then again, we've got options. He could bring in Danny Ings out from the cold and play him up front. And of course, he could play Jared Bowen up front as well. But for me, I mentioned a moment ago that this could be a game for individual brilliance. And this player, I think, will finally come into his own this season. I think Mohamed Kudus, we could find him potentially either playing in the middle of the park or out wide right today to allow Crescencio Somerville to be part of the starting lineup. My gut kind of tells me that potentially he's going to go with Bowen up front to allow that to happen. So it'd be interesting to see how it all goes. But one player, of course, that it needs to kind of shake up a little bit is Lucas Paqueta. He's not in the best of form right now. And it wouldn't surprise me if Paqueta was dropped by Lopetegui, maybe opting for an Alvarez and Rodriguez holding midfield, with Soler possibly starting just in front of them. I don't know how match fit Soler is. But talking of Paqueta, for your chance to win a Paqueta and Said Benrahma dual signed and framed Conference League West Ham final shirt, which is displayed, plus 18 instant prizes. Go to footballprizes.co.uk for full details. And that competition ends on the 18th of September. Right, before I get into our team selection, let's see who's in the chat. I don't know how it's going. I've got 70 people watching. That's not bad, all things considered. Mr. Peters, you haven't got time for this. You're supposed to be getting on a train to meet me and Wiggy for a pre-match rum. Good morning to you, Kenneth. I hope you're well, mate. Shaky. Good morning, lovely people. Sun is shining. 60th birthday. We're going to bag glorious 3 points. A very happy birthday to you, mate. I hope you're well. Hammers 84. Good morning, Stel and the crew. I hope you're well, mate. Good morning to you, Mark. Score prediction for the game. I'll come to that in a moment, mate. My pleasure, Shaky. Have a great day. 3-1 to West Ham. Good morning, Howard. I hope you're well. I hope you're looking forward to the game. Another 3-1. Michael, good evening. Good morning. Good evening. Good morning to you. Paul Kitson, hat trick. That takes us back. I'll take a 2-1. Martin, good morning, mate. It's a very winnable game, a game we should win. Well, you know, all games we should consider winning, but they're a pretty good side. Joe, good morning, mate. I hope you're well. Shaky, if we can see that Kudus out, if we see Kudus out on the left, then surely Loppy. If we can see that Kudus out on the left isn't good, I guess is what you might trying to say, then surely Loppy can. Somerville left, Paqueta centre, Kudus right, Bowen up top, be bold. Gary, good morning to you. Always love to thank you very much. Need to do more shows with the boys from more than just a podcast. Watch this space, and would love to hear a chat with Len anonymously, obviously. Always tried to get Len on, but he's always kindly declined. Rupert, enjoy the game with the usual. Thank you, mate. Wish I was there, but I'm off to do more sightseeing in Paris. Might even partake in some more snails and frog legs. Save some for the locals, won't you, mate? I hope you're enjoying Paris over there. Eddie, good afternoon from the Philippines. A nice away win today would do. Good afternoon, and thank you for joining, mates. Rowley, good morning. Let's have another decent performance and 3 points today. Maybe we might become a team that wins all our away games and has dodgy home fixture results. Who knows? Captain, good morning to you. Antonio on steroids will do me. Good morning. I keep trying to say good evening. Good morning, Wasim. I hope you're well, mate. Thank you for joining. Mark, good morning, mate. Thank you, mate. I will certainly do. Mr. Williams, are you on your way? I will be there on time. Don't worry. Good morning, mate. I hope you're well. Ian, good morning to you. Frank, hello, mate. From down under. Thank you for joining, mate. I hope you're doing well. Who else have we got? Kenneth. Good still. Which 11 will you pick? I'm coming to that in just a moment. Mark, 2-1 to us with Boeing scoring twice would be very nice. Good morning, Bill. I hope you're well. Great analysis of Fulham. Thank you very much. This is certainly a team we need to be aware of. Absolutely. Look, Marco Silva, let's not forget, he's the sort of manager that a lot of West Ham fans would have been very happy to have had at West Ham. He's a good tactician. We all like his style of play. He is the sort of manager that at some point in the future, you might just say, welcome to West Ham. And I don't think we'd turn him down, would we? Good morning, Adam. I hope you're well, mate. George, good morning to you. Good morning, Alan. I hope you're well, mate. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it, that. Good morning, Paul. Peter, sorry. I hope you're well. Hammer 84. What is full strength? All the new signings playing? I don't really know, to be quite honest with you. With Todibo still finding his feet. And let's be honest, Mavropanos during the international break had a really good 2 games for Greece. So will he be dropped? He hasn't really put too much. He's not done much wrong for West Ham this season. A few errors, but ones that weren't too serious. I would say. So I don't know if Todibo would start. I think Wan-Bissaka will. Soler, is he match fit? We still don't know yet. So Somerville, I think, is the one that we've got to look out for. And apparently he had a very good sort of break. Whilst other players were on international duty, he impressed during training. So I'm kind of expecting Somerville to start today. Daniela, good morning to you. I hope you're well. Kenneth, I read that Soler is starting. Who knows, mate? I don't know. We wouldn't know, would we? No one's going to admit to that. So it wouldn't surprise me if he does start, but it wouldn't surprise me if he's on the bench as well. Paul, I would go with Paqueta on the left. It's not ideal, but out of all who've played there, he has adapted the best. He has a great understanding with Emerson. He absolutely does. But I think Somerville will get the nod today. But at whose expense? I'm going to go into the team sheets in a moment. I had a friend called Stelianu, a bit of a mouthful, almost as bad as mine, mate. Ian, let's give them a smashing. Not going to be easy away from home. Mark, I think we will see most of the players that worked with Lopetegui over the last 2 weeks. That's a decent shout. Right, so let's go into the teams. And he's got options, Lopetegui. We know that Fulkrug is injured, so we know he's not starting. He's going to be sidelined today, rested, and apparently he should be back for the Chelsea game next weekend. So Lopetegui has got options to make all around the pitch. I think he will go with the back 4, like I thought. Areola in goal. I think Wan-Bissaka will be starting today. I think Mavropanos will probably keep his place today. Kilman will play alongside him, and then of course Emerson. Now he could go quite safe, and he could go with 2 holding midfielders. Do we need that against Fulham? I'm not so sure. Like I mentioned a moment ago, if you look at the side that they put out against Ipswich, this was away from home. They played with just 1 holding midfielder in Lukic. I'm guessing they'll probably do the same. That will probably mean that Lopetegui will say to himself, maybe 2 holding midfielders is a little bit too much for this. He might match them up and go like for like. So he's got other options to make. So he could go with Danny Ings up front. He could just risk Antonio, despite Antonio having a game at 3:00 on a Wednesday morning over in Honduras and then having to return back, etc. I think he didn't get back until Thursday. And I think Paqueta didn't get back till Thursday afternoon as well. When Lopetegui did his press conference on Thursday, he kind of said waiting for 1 or 2 more players to come back. Rodriguez, I don't know. I mean, he was out in South America as well. So I don't know if he came back late too, but it could be Paqueta, Antonio, and Rodriguez having come back late. Maybe those 3 players might be on the bench today, but he's got options. He could either go with Danny Ings, like I've mentioned, or he could go with Antonio and risk. Alternatively, and I know a lot of people don't like this, but you've got to give Souček credit where credit's due. Despite the mixed performances away with the Czech Republic, poor loss at 4-1 against Georgia, but then he pulled it back. He scored the winning goal from the penalty spot for their second game, the Czech Republic. Souček may start. He may start ahead of Paqueta. And then Somerville could come in on the left, and you could see Kudus out on the right, and Bowen leading the line. That's an option as well given to Lopetegui. He could, of course, just go with Paqueta. If you've got the 2 holding midfielders, in Rodriguez and Alvarez, then you might see a bit of a mix. Maybe he might risk Paqueta in a bit of a free role further up front with Kudus, Somerville either side, and then again Bowen as that striker option. And then, of course, oh, did I? And then, of course, you could go for something else and start Soler, keep Paqueta there, start Soler alongside Alvarez. We know Soler is that kind of number 8, that box to box type player who can get back to help defensively, but can also get further forward to play alongside Paqueta. He's got some interesting options. Does he go with an out and out striker in the likes of Danny Ings or Antonio? Sorry about that, muted myself. Is he likely to go with an out and out striker in Danny Ings or Antonio? Or does he go with the likes of Bowen? Either way, what I see today in all the selections I've made, the one player on the right hand side or in the middle who could it could be his game today is Mohamed Kudus. If you've seen, I've not put him on the left. I actually do think Somerville is likely to start out on the left side today, which will afford Lopetegui to play Kudus either in the middle or out on the right. And if he plays him in the middle, then you may see Bowen out on the right with maybe Danny Ings or Antonio leading the line. So he's got options. He's got a few options in defensive midfield and further up front as well. What's the team that you would like? Oh, predictions. I'm going for a 2-1 win. I don't think we're going to be able to keep a clean sheet. Would be nice if we start doing more of that. Mind you, we kept a clean sheet against Crystal Palace a few weeks ago, and that was meant to be quite a tough game as well. And we could emulate that too. So a clean sheet. They're a bit of a bogey team. Not that we always lose to them, but certainly from last season, conceding 7 goals and not scoring any against them in the 2 games kind of puts me a little bit on edge. So I'm going to say they'll score, but I think we'll win 2-1 today. And I think Bowen and Kudus will get the goals. Right. What about you guys? What do you think? Daniela, I like constantly said, let's get behind this squad. Absolutely. Good morning to you, Nikamang. A settled team performance. For that reason, I don't think Soler or Todibo will start. That's in the back of my mind as well, mate. Kenneth, would love to see some youngsters like Guilherme, Kante, Earthy. Well, you won't. Guilherme, maybe. Kante is back on loan to the club that we bought him from. And Earthy is also out on loan, but injured at the moment as well. Hammer 84, more than half watching, haven't liked. Please do hit that like button. And like I say, if you're new to the channel, please do become a subscriber if you enjoy it. Good morning, Jason. I hope you're well. Daniela, Shaky, I think we're going to have a very good season apart from City and Liverpool. Everyone has mixed results and don't think Liverpool can keep this up. Good morning to you, Brownie. I hope you're well. Yeah, I'm very well, mate. I hope you are too. Ian, nothing against Soucek, but we need to move on. I think he's got his uses. I think he will be more a bench player this season as all the other players get fully match fit. When Soler is fully match fit, I think you'll start seeing the likes of Soucek maybe coming on from the bench. Daniela, 2-0. Rowley, would like to see Guilherme and Somerville get some game time. I wonder if Guilherme will even make the bench today, to be honest with you. Be interesting. George going for a 3-2. Shaky. What an exciting squad we have. We should be salivating. Ings cleaning the boots. Colin, good morning. My sources tell me the team will be Areola, Wan-Bissaka, Todibo, Kilman, Emerson, Alvarez, Soucek in a pivot, Somerville, Paqueta, Kudus, Bowen up front. The only one I would disagree with there, mate, is you got Somerville, Paqueta, Kudus. The only one I would disagree with is possibly in defence. I think Mavropanos is likely to start, but otherwise, you've got more or less one of the teams that I've suggested as well, with Bowen up front, Kudus, Paqueta, Somerville. So it'd be interesting. It'd be interesting to see what happens there, mate. Um, I really don't want to see Souček starting anymore. Good morning to you, Ralph. I hope you're well. I think everyone's got a place in this squad. I think Lopetegui knows that as well. And if Lopetegui sees something in Souček, then we've got to trust the manager, I guess. Daniela, Shaky, well, it just needs a run of games. Remember, three top 10 teams. Not many are taking points off City this season. I think it's all to play for. It's going to be interesting. This is a test, isn't it? Crystal Palace was a test, and we got through that one. We haven't done as well as we would like to in the home games so far, but this is another. It's our second London derby of the season. And we did exceptionally well against Crystal Palace. There's no reason why we shouldn't do well against Fulham, but they're a decent team. They're a decent team. They play in much the same way. Silva sets them up in much the same way as Lopetegui sets up West Ham. So, like I said, it's going to be a game of individual brilliance today. And I think today is going to be Kudus's day. Kenneth, would you take anyone from the free agency? I'm going 2-0. West Ham goals from Bowen and Kudus. No, it's too late now. The freebies closed today, actually. This is the last day. And Lopetegui has already said in his press conference that he's going to rely on the youth. And I think that's great. I think Caelan Casey coming in as the fourth centre-back is fantastic. I would have liked to maybe have seen one or two other players that have gone out on loan to be kept at West Ham rather than putting them out on loan. Maybe the likes of Freddie Potts, for example. Maybe the likes of George Earthy, for example. And maybe Callum Marshall up front, who's out on loan at Huddersfield. Maybe one or two of those players I would have liked to have seen kept back in order to bolster the squad a little bit. But great for Caelan Casey to get that boost, knowing that he's now going to be the fourth choice centre-back for West Ham. As I'm sure you know, the squad was announced, the official squad was announced to the Premier League on Friday. 22 players in there, so there's still 3 places available. Now, there was a consideration that maybe because he's 22 years old, Luizão would have been named in the senior squad. He hasn't been. And obviously, he's too old to be named in the under-21 squad. So he's been left out altogether. Now, there are a couple of leagues which have still got their transfer windows open. The African League and the Saudi League have got their transfer windows open. Do we think Luizão will go? I don't know, is the honest truth. It is an odd one, not being named in either the under-21 squad or the senior squad. But there are 22 players who have been named in the senior squad. Of course, Guilherme doesn't have to be because he's under-21 as well. So 3 places available. Watch out for January. We may, if we need to, bolster the squad. And we've got 3 available places in the squad to do that. Kenneth, would you? Oh, sorry, I've done that one. Colin, Stel, mate, I think it will be 5-1 with Kudus 2, Bowen 2, Paqueta. Let's not be greedy. Daniela, yes, Stel, it's a test. If we really want a different squad from last season, we did have our issues in defence. We absolutely did. And I agree with you. We look much more solid with Kilman at the back this season. Colin's been on the scrum. Right. That's it, people. Short and sweet. This is a pilot. Like I said, I don't know how it's going to go, but thank you for those of you who have tuned in to watch. If you like it, please do hit that like button. And I will try and do match day mornings again for every game coming up. There might be games like maybe the midweek games that might be a little bit more difficult, but I will try and do them. If you enjoy them and you have your say in a live preview rather than a pre-recorded one, then I will do them again. So let me know what you think. Hammer 84, the young Brazilian defender looked okay when I've watched him. Luizão, well, I know, but he's not been named. He's 22 years of age. He could have been named in the senior squad, but he hasn't been. So it's interesting that. Richard, Bowen in the middle, Kudus on the right. The rest will sort itself out. That's the kind of team. My preference, I think if I've got a preference, I think it'll probably be this one. Do I think this will happen? It's quite likely. I think Paqueta is the only one. It could be Rodriguez instead of Soler And then, sorry, it could be Rodriguez instead of Paqueta, with Soler moving further forward and Rodriguez alongside Alvarez. But like I said earlier on in the show, will that be a bit too defensive minded? We are away from home, however. I do think Kudus is going to start either on the right or in the middle. I think Somerville will get his first league start. And I think quite possibly Bowen will be given the nod up front. Richard is going for a 2-2. Thank you, Shaky. I will indeed. More of these shows. Much appreciated, Jason. Thank you very much. Daniela, thank you. And Mark, really looking forward to today's game, unlike last season. Well, we were really looking forward to last season until we got thumped. Thank you all for watching. Really much appreciated. Enjoy the game. And of course, watch out for the show later on, post-match review with Wiggy and all the other lads that I'm going to be with. And we'll have our say after the game. And I'll see you all again very soon.